Yo people, welcome back to another video. Now, I haven't had a chance to give my Bad Batch episode 9 review, but we all know the main event of the episode was Asajj Ventress' return. I feel that if I give my proper review, it will be the same as the previous episode where the whole point of the episode was to see the cameo, and overall the episode was fine. It was interesting to get Ventress' growth, her perspective on the Force, and all of that stuff. However, the main talking point online has been, was this all worth it? There's obviously people who are very upset that Ventress is back, that she is returning. For those of you that didn't know, Ventress originally dies in the book The Dark Disciple, which takes place before Revenge of the Sith, and it was originally going to be a Clone Wars arc. Essentially, Ventress dies to Dooku because she basically sacrifices herself to protect the one that she loves, which is Quinlan Vos. He takes her body to Dathomir, drops it in like this magical lake thing, and she is basically dead. That makes this return in the Bad Batch a complete retcon, and we already got the Disney shills defending it, clapping and celebrating the return, because a lot of these shills, they don't care about storylines, they don't care about long-term stories, they don't care about all these things. They just want hype, hashtags, and just people sucking them off, which even if it doesn't make sense, they don't care. The people opposing them are more triggered because they believe her death in the book was very fitting. So this retcon is just another one to add to the list that keeps growing under Dave Filoni. They've basically spent time and money reading this book, all for it to not count. Not only is this another retcon, but another character who dies and gets brought back to life, which is getting very boring. If the changes were even better than the original story, then people wouldn't really have a problem. Obviously, it would still be frustrating, but it was for the better in that aspect. However, the quality Disney produces these days are garbage, and most of the times it's unlikely that they're going to make something better than the original, as we've seen. For me personally, I never read the book The Dark Disciple, so I don't have that emotional attachment. I didn't invest that time, that money into the story, but I completely sympathize with the people who are against Ventress' return. I completely understand. For me, the only way to give a final verdict about this decision is to see what they do with the character. Darth Maul is a prime example as to what I'm referring to. When the return didn't make sense at first, but his story got explored, it got fleshed out, it became much more than what it was, and a lot of us excuse his return for those very reasons. The voice actress for Asajj did say that how she returned will be explored in future content. Now, as for me, I think that Ventress is looking very likely to take Omega under her wing after the events of season 3 of the Bad Batch. It is a story that is worth making her return for. It wasn't just for one episode as it seems. So overall, the story makes sense. Ventress, who was evil, spent her life killing clones, will now be teaching a clone that is Force sensitive how to use the Force for good. Not as a Jedi, not as a Sith, but kind of that grey scale, that area in the middle. Also, the main reason why I'm on board with this is because it most likely means that most, if not all, of the Bad Batch members will die, which is something that I wanted to see. Not because I hate the Bad Batch, but because I like these tragic stories that aren't afraid to be bold and just take out everyone. The only thing I'm afraid of is that they're doing too much of this grey down the middle, grey Jedi thing. It's kind of getting repetitive. We obviously had Luke, the OG, who was doing it, and they kind of just disregarded and ruined his story. Qui-Gon did it, they're not really exploring it, and they're doing it with Ahsoka, they're doing it with kind of Sabine because she is under Ahsoka, they're doing it with Baylan Skoll, with Shin Hati, now they might be doing it with Asajj Ventress. We saw her yellow lightsaber. They're gonna probably do it in the Acolyte, they might do it in other forms of media, and it's kind of getting repetitive. The whole point of the Grey Jedi is that there's a lot of conflict, and it's a very rare way of thinking. So yeah, if the plans are what they seem, and they do this going forwards, I have no issue with Ventress' return if she gets this big kind of new role, and we will probably get a Ventress and Omega spin-off or something, who knows. If they just brought her back to cause controversy, and then they just have her floating around the galaxy and they never focus on her story again, then I will be kind of annoyed that she got brought back for no reason, basically just to appear in one episode of something and then leave. I don't think they're dumb enough to do that, so I guess time will tell. But for now, I think they are going to play it safe. Ventress, Omega, they can do the whole female empowerment thing, female lead. They can even tie Ventress to the whole witchcraft, Night Sisters thing that they seem to be pushing, especially in Ahsoka. So it can all start to connect. You got one of the only female clones as well, so it makes sense. It's kind of what Disney wants to do. Either Either way, they need to stop bringing people back from the dead and stop retconning events from the books, because then people will stop buying and caring, because what's the point if the story that they originally liked is just going to get changed to probably something that isn't as good. Also, if I see Mace Windu return, that will be a massive problem. I already see these Disney shows pushing for that agenda. We don't want to see Mace Windu back, not because he's not a great character, but because he's dead, he's finished. If you want to do prequel stuff, do it, because there's a lot to explore within his character. But yeah, as always, let me know your thoughts down below of this retcon, of this return. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are there any other ones that you have not liked? Any that you have liked? Any exceptions to your rules? All of that stuff. As always, drop a like on the video as well. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for your time and have a great rest of your day.